know that feeling when your stomach drops before bad news hits? I felt that the second I walked into our morning briefing and saw the HR lady sitting at the end of the table, clutching a clipboard like it was a weapon. "Harper, can we speak? Privately." That's how it started. 1 month ago, I was the executive editor for Polaris Channel, an edgy, pseudo-progressive streaming platform that pretended to care about truth and transparency while selling ad space to oil companies. I helped build that empire, from clickbait startup to one of the top 5 digital content machines in New York. And then, just like that, I was out. Restructuring, they said. Budget issues. Except it wasn't. Not really. It was Derek. Derek Monroe, head of content, my direct supervisor, and the man who once told me I was the only person in the room whose brain made him sweat. Charming, right? We'd had history, and that was the problem because I ended it, and he didn't like losing things he thought he owned. I found out he was funneling advertiser kickbacks into off-the-book projects, PR-friendly activism, segments that were secretly paid for by the brands they were supposed to critique. I had proof. Email chains, wire transfers. I didn't threaten him with it. I wasn't even going to use it. I just confronted him, stupidly thinking if I gave him a chance to come clean, maybe I could save the place I helped build. Instead, I got a cardboard box and a kindly escort out of the building. For a week, I spiraled: wine, bad TV, worse food. I kept thinking it would feel like closure. It didn't. It felt like theft. That's when I remembered something Derek said once at a rap party, when he was drunk enough to be honest. Everything digital is soft power. Control the narrative, you control the world. So I decided to write a new one about him. I logged into the ghost system I built during our beta phase. No one ever disabled my dev access. Lazy. I still had admin privileges. Still had eyes and ears on everything. Their content pipeline, their cloud server, even the clean Slack channel where execs shared untraceable voice notes. And the things I heard? Let's just say, Derek's secrets weren't even the worst ones. But revenge? It had to be careful. Slow. Like pulling the right thread on a cheap sweater and watching the whole thing unravel. I started with a whisper. Using an alt account, I submitted a story tip to a competitor. Polaris used paid actors in its Homeless Crisis docuseries. It was true. I helped cast them once. The story went semi-viral. Polaris called it defamation. Then I planted the next one, anonymous screenshots hinting at editorial manipulation, in a whistleblower episode. Reddit ran wild with it. So did TikTok. And then came the bomb. I uploaded a file to a dummy Dropbox folder and tipped off a journalist. Internal document outlines plans to scrub unfavorable footage from a pending sexual misconduct investigation. The document was fake. The footage wasn't. Derek panicked. 3 employees were suspended. Legal got involved. The board called an emergency audit. And me? I watched from my tiny apartment sipping lukewarm coffee, smiling for the first time in weeks. But it wasn't over. Because in the middle of all this, something weird happened. A plain white envelope showed up at my door. No return address. Just my name in blocky Sharpie. Inside, a USB drive. I plugged it into an air-gapped laptop expecting spam or spyware. What I found was something else entirely. Footage, raw, unedited, time-stamped, of Derek. Sitting in an edit bay at 2:13 a.m. last summer, splicing together B-roll from a suicide scene. Except the suicide hadn't happened yet. The person in the footage was still alive when he edited it. I remembered her. Her name was Lily Strand, a junior producer. She died 3 weeks later. Jumped from the roof. Except now, I wasn't sure it was suicide, and the footage. It was dated a full 18 days before her death. Suddenly, this wasn't just revenge, it was something else, something darker, and I was already in too deep to stop. I didn't sleep the night I watched that footage. I kept replaying it, frame by frame, second by second. Derek alone in that edit bay, casually cutting audio over B-roll like he was making a promo for a cooking show. Except he wasn't. He was preparing a eulogy for someone who hadn't died yet. Lily Strand. She used to sit 3 desks away from mine. Tiny, bookish, nervous energy like a caffeine-powered kitten. But damn, she was sharp. Fact-checking like it was a religious ritual. She'd call out a misused statistic like it was blasphemy. Then one day she just vanished. The official story? Emotional distress, needed time off, tragic ending. But now I had something that made that ending look more like a beginning, or a cover-up. And it had Derek's fingerprints all over it. I needed to know more. So I reached out to the only other person who might have noticed something back then. Jonah Ward, senior AV engineer, midnight coder. Once got suspended for building a crypto miner into the company's coffee machine. I messaged him on Signal. Ever wonder what really happened to Lily? Jonah. Every day. Why? Me. I have something, but I need a favor. We met at a noise bar in Brooklyn. The kind of place where you could scream state secrets and no one would hear a dar word. I handed him a copy of the footage. He watched it, eyes narrowing with every second. Then he said something that chilled me. That's not the only file he made. What? Apparently, Derek used to save backups of his sensitive projects on a hidden server partition, something he arrogantly named Echo. It was off-grid, no network access, manual login only. Which meant one thing. We had to go back into Polaris, not digitally, physically. 2 nights later, we broke in. Well, Jonah did. I just held the flashlight. He used an old janitor keycard he somehow still had, don't ask, and bypassed the alarm system using a hacked fob. I swear if he wasn't so awkward he'd be terrifying. We got to the server room around 3:12 a.m. No guards, no lights, just rows of humming metal and the cold stench of refrigerant. Jonah jacked into the root terminal, whispered, "Say hello to Echo," and hit enter. The folder popped open. Inside were dozens of video files. Names like Pressure V1, Internal Meltdown, and one just titled Lily Raw. I made him copy everything, but before we could finish, the screen flickered, then blacked out. Jonah froze. "This isn't me," he said. Suddenly, one line of text appeared. "You're late to the story," then the whole terminal shut down. We bolted, no alarms, no footsteps, but somehow we knew someone else had been watching. When I got home, there was a new DM waiting on my burner account. No name. Just this message. "You want Derek to pay? Then show the world what he did to Lily. Before he does it again." Attached was a Dropbox link. The file inside? A full unedited doc Lily had been working on before she died. Titled, The Monroe Method. It laid everything out. How Derek manipulated subjects, cut context, buried interviews, paid off victims, even staged breakdowns to boost ratings. It had timelines, sources, signed affidavits. Lily had it all. She just didn't live long enough to finish it. But I could. That's when it hit me. This wasn't just revenge anymore. This was justice. The kind no lawsuit could buy. And I had 7 days to finish what Lily started. Why 7? Because of the last note in her file. Handwritten, faded, barely legible. "If anything happens to me, check the cut room on October 17th. That's in 5 days. and I still don't know what's waiting there. But whatever it is, it's how this ends. I showed up at Eastline Media's Midtown HQ at 11:59 p.m. on October 17th. Not because I was trying to be dramatic, okay, maybe a little, but because that was the time stamped in Lily's final project file. And I figured if ghosts kept appointments, I should too. I wore black, not out of mourning, out of practicality. Jonah had looped the lobby cameras for exactly 8 minutes, long enough to get to the cut room, our old, now defunct off-site edit suite, buried on floor B2, and do whatever the hell I was about to do. The air down there was still and stale, like the breath of something sleeping. The lights flickered to life with a low hum. The cut room sign still hung crooked above the door, half burned out like a forgotten prop from a canceled show. Inside, everything was how we left it. Half-empty coffee cups, storyboards with post-its like scars, and one single edit bay still running. Jonah had gotten in earlier and booted up the system. The footage was ready. Lily raw, Monroe, method final Derek breakdown Avery thread pull, and one more I hadn't seen before. Echo last cut. Movie clicked play. It was Lily, talking directly into the camera. I don't know who's going to see this. I don't even know if I'll be around when they do. But if you're watching, it means I couldn't finish it and someone else has to. She looked calm, not scared, not broken, just tired. Derek knows how to erase people, but he doesn't know how to erase patterns. That's what journalism is, patterns. You follow the lies until they repeat. Then you pull. I sat frozen. The way she said pull reminded me of something Avery once told me. He keeps everything balanced on one thread. That's why it never unravels until someone tugs. So I tugged. I cued every video into the master sequence. I added my own narration. I put names, dates, receipts, whistleblowers, overlays. I even synced it to that cheesy theme music Eastline used for their exposés, Ironic Justice. And then I scheduled the upload. November 1st, 9:00 a.m., same day as Eastline's annual Integrity in Media Symposium. It would hit their channels, their subscribers, their sponsors. I'd hidden it in their auto-scheduler, buried under a fake branded content slot called Fall Trends in Click Culture, Derek's own vanity project. He'd get the alert the moment it published. I walked out feeling clean for the first time in months, but it didn't last. The next morning, my burner lit up again. Same anonymous account, same eerie tone. Nicely done. Now get out of the city. Attached was a screenshot. My face, on a building, security cam. Timestamp 11:59 p.m. October 17th. I froze, because Jonah was the only person who could have looped that footage, and he never said he did. I called him. No answer. I messaged. Nothing. Then a new DM pinged. You really thought you were the only one Lily trusted? And there it was, a photo of a handwritten note. From Lily's old notebook. It said, "Give Jonah a copy. Give Harper the password. One breaks the story, the other breaks the cycle." Suddenly it made sense. The Echo last cut wasn't just the end of Lily's investigation. It was a handoff. She knew she'd never get to finish it, so she split it between two people she barely knew, but trusted more than the system that failed her. Jonah and I were just puzzle pieces, and the story, that belonged to everyone now. Epilogue. The video dropped. It went viral in under 8 hours. Derek went dark in 12. Eastline released a statement. Legal threats. Internal audits. External apologies. Avery? She flipped. Cooperated with investigators. Burned her bridges so thoroughly she might as well have set fire to Manhattan. Me? I got offers. podcasts, book deals. Production companies wanted to option the whole thing for a streaming docuseries. I declined. Instead, I changed my handle. Not the Cut Down Room anymore. Now I go by Echo Unfinished. Because this wasn't about one man, one company, one act of revenge. It was about all of us. And the things we're willing to risk to make sure the next Lily doesn't disappear without a trace.